All right, perfect.
Yeah. Okay.
So, welcome to this first webinar of a 9-part series of sessions on digitizing the IBC ecosystem. And my name is Sushant Haritas, and I'm the co-founder of Encore Resolution and will be your host for today. A couple of general rules. The session is being recorded, and it'll be made available on the website for future viewing of those who are interested. So, just a couple of housekeeping rules to avoid any disturbances during the call. May I request you to please mute your microphones as the session is in progress. We, of course, if you have any questions, you can raise your hands, or we have dedicated time for Q&A session at the very end, where we have reserved some 10 minutes to take any questions that you might have. Okay. So with that said, I'll share my screen, and please let me know if you see that. Is this visible?
Yes, sir. It is visual.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. So today's agenda is that we'll get started by looking at the current state of operations of most IPs and IPEs and how digitization can bring benefits to the participants in the IBC ecosystem. And then we'll look at an overview of Resolution Engine, what it is, speak about its features and capabilities um, before jumping into the next section, which is about privacy and security. Okay. Here we'll talk about some of the industry leading security features and how the platform keeps your data safe and puts you in control of who can access what information on the platform. Finally, we have some time reserved for polls to get your insights, your feedback. And of course, at the very end, we have some time for Q&A, where you can ask questions about the matters that we discussed during this call. Okay, so with that said, we will proceed with an overview of the current state of digitization. Let's take a look at the landscape and see how most IPs and IPEs currently manage their operations. Okay, and you'll find that their business and operating model is full of manual processes. Okay? The use of technology is limited, and even where it is used, the data is actually living in silos. Okay? And various participants are operating as distinct individuals rather than as a part of a team. So what's the problem there? The problem is that it creates a lot of friction in information flows, and it makes the process more time consuming. It makes it also more expensive, and and of course more prone to errors and omissions on the part of either the IP or the IP support team. And these errors and omissions lead to a compliance risk on the part of IPs, and they can risk penalties from the regulators. And of course, there comes the larger concern of reputation risk. Okay. So these are this is the current state of landscape and some of the most pressing challenges that we see today. And of course, the benefits of digitization uh, that is that these issues can be addressed, making these processes more streamlined, faster, more cost effective, and certainly more compliant with rules and regulations. And digitization will also improve the focus and attention of the IPs and their support teams, as you won't need a dozen different systems for different tasks uh, that you undertake in your assignments. So today, um, you use a variety of different systems. For example, you might be using SharePoint to host your local data, okay, um, or maybe information on your local desktops for managing documents, which are scattered across different laptops amongst your team members. Then you might be using Zoom or Teams to conduct your meetings, to record those sessions, and uh, you know uh, to to take minutes of those meetings. Then you might be using Excel sheets for managing your claims, which is again a very tedious task. And you might be probably engaging third-party services for e-voting and other third-party services for VDR, etc. Okay, so all these are, while you can imagine that, well, these are all pieces of technology, but they are disparate, segregated pieces of technology. So they are not unified in any way. Okay, so where the platform comes into play is it brings all these disparate pieces of technology into one unified platform, which everybody can access. Okay, so we looked at a report by the IBPI highlighting some of the most common issues observed during the inspection of insolvency professionals by IBPI. And it's a fairly long report, but we kind of try to condense it into 10 big themes as to what are some of those biggest observations thematically that IBPI observed. And they can be classified as: one was public announcement related issues, there were claim verification related problems. The third theme is issues that related to the COC minutes uh, and notices. Then IBPI also highlighted confidentiality breaches as another cause of concern. Um, Regulatory and compliance gaps was another big issue. There were some concerns around fee and professional conduct issues, which can be tied directly into either awareness or recency and currency of IPs in terms of the various provisions of code, regulations, or circulars. Then there are timeline and compliance related issues, professional responsibility violations. The ninth on the list is the reporting and documentation deficiencies that IBBA observed across that CIRP 180-day period. And finally, there were governance and management issues, some lapses that IBBI observed uh, while they were inspecting the work of uh, these insolvency professionals. And when we were compiling this data, we concluded that all these challenges can be addressed by varying degrees through the use of digital technologies. Okay. And in that context, we wanted to segue into the next section of today's agenda, which is an introduction to Resolution Engine, okay, what the capabilities of the system are and what it really does. So what really is Resolution Engine? So it's an insolvency digitization platform that connects all the participants in the IBC ecosystem with the aim of creating a unified experience for all the participants, managing the data more effectively, more efficiently, reducing the need of a dozen different pieces of technology, and folding all those things into just one single unified place, creating a one-stop shop for all the participants to access the same source of truth for everybody. Okay. Now, what problems does the resolution engine solve? Some of it we already spoke of, and I won't take much of your time repeating the same. same stuff. But again, it's pertinent to note that the biggest problem is segregation of data, making sure that all these steps, all the actions, the tasks that an IP and the IP's support team are doing, they are compliant, they are adherent to the timelines. Um, the IP and the support team members, they get timely reminders, notifications. If there's any risk identified by the system in terms of slippages in timelines, in terms of non-compliance, in terms of other data or access or unauthorized access related issues, um, the IP and the team are made aware in a timely manner so that they can take corrective action. Okay. The second pillar that you see, compliance, it also contains something related to know-how. And even though all the insolvency professionals, they are well versed in the domain, but the truth is that the landscape is changing so fast. New regulations, new circulars, new information is coming at an unprecedented speed. So it's difficult for anybody to stay on top of all the changes that are happening in the industry. And that's where, you know, being on top of compliance comes in handy, and a large share of the heavy lift is done by the platform, making sure that that the hand holding, whether you are a newly registered insolvency professional or a seasoned participant in the industry, um, you are provided with the relevant inputs and the support needed to carry on your assignments in compliance with the law. The third pillar that you see is empowerment of common man. And even though this webinar is focused more towards insolvency professionals, I'm not sure if you have had the opportunity to log into Resolution Engine. You'll see two sections there, one for the insolvency professionals, and the other one says users. Users meaning non-IP uh, uh, registrants of the platform. So what these non-IP users stand to benefit from the Resolution Engine is that it really confers the power of the insolvency and bankruptcy code into the hands of a common man. So they can actually initiate actions like starting an application online, filing a claim online, getting basic information about the IBC process online. Okay, so that makes the other side of the story fit. So IPs and non-IPs all come together on the platform to exchange information and see the same version of truth. So what are the features and capabilities of Resolution Engine? Um, the platform is segregated into what we're calling as modules. Each module comes with its own set of capabilities. Some of the prominent modules that we have on Resolution Engine are leads management module, and we'll talk about all of these modules in the slides to come. Uh, Having some deeper dive into the capabilities of what they do and how they support the insolvency professionals and their support teams in managing their operations. So we have the leads management module, the case management module, IBC watch list, claims management, meetings and votings module, um, which also includes other capabilities, including VDR, even though we are calling VDR as a separate module, and we'll see that in the following slides. And finally, the IP assistant, which is an artificial intelligence based agent to help with a lot of tasks related to um, Q&A related to the day-to-day operations, and going forward would also work as the agent for auto generation of documents, reports, minutes, etc., using AI. for all the assignments. All right, so starting with the lead management module, and this applies equally for individual IPs and for insolvency professional entities. Uh, Lead management is a module that takes care of all activities prior to the admission of a case. Okay? Imagine this to be your customer relationship management system. So you can add your prospective leads, you know, potential clients that you are engaging with. You are in early stages of discussion, so you record your leads. You conduct online meetings with those prospective clients. You give your consent, you sign the mandates, and you hold all these documents in one place. And while the NCLT hearings are ongoing in these cases, um, you or your team can update the status and from within the platform, and the applicant will get notified of the next hearing date automatically. So it's like you and your client are on the same version of truth. You don't have to send separate emails. You don't have to create parallel channels of communication for updating them about the status of various proceedings. Okay. And that's a big advantage of having an online system, in that everybody is looking at the same source of truth from their respective accounts. So while you log in as an IP or an IPE, the applicant logs in as a user, and they see only those cases where they are the applicant. So that creates a validation mechanism on sharing of information efficiently between two parties. And of course, the IP is always in control. They decide who sees what information. Okay. And by the way, uh, these slides, all of these modules will have separate deep dive information sessions, 30-minute sessions on each of these capabilities individually in weeks to come. Right now, the purpose of this introductory webinar is to walk you through at a high level what each of these modules does, and then follow that up with a deeper dive session later uh, in the coming weeks and months. The second capability that we wanted to showcase was uh, the assignments module. Okay, so we spoke of the leads module. So from leads, we step into the assignment module. So once your leads are admitted, you set them up here as assignments and run them in the assignments module. Um, this is a pretty big module, and the essential objective of this module is to walk the IP and the IP team step by step through the 180-day CIRP process. And there are a host of resources like guided tours, templates, um, uh, timelines, and notifications for making sure that all the activities are done step by step, no timelines are missed, the right documents are uploaded, and all the involved parties are kept apprised of the ongoings within the assignment at the right time. Okay, so and of course collaboration, meaning that it's not that the IP has to log in and do all the stuff. IP can set up their team, and those team members can do their respective tasks, and the IP always stays at the nodal person at the center of the assignment. And it's like co-collaboration on a single object, which is the assignment being done by various participants, various team members of the insolvency professional. So, like I said, the case management is the biggest module within Rezolution Engine. And in the next few slides, I'll just talk about some of the components of these sub-modules within the assignments module. So the first part is case summary. So the screenshot here is pretty small. I'll try to zoom in, but this will give you a sense of what the screen looks like, what the user interface looks like. So on the top, you see various tabs like case summary, case run, claims, meetings, votings, participants, documents, and others. So these are all the aspects uh, of an assignment, and each tab here takes care of different capabilities and different attributes. But the case summary here talks about three different things. One is the CIRP timeline. So the moment you set up an assignment and upload your order, at the time of setup, a timeline will be generated for you that is in compliance with the uh, various milestones and tasks that are enshrined in the CIRP regulations. And then, of course, you can manage your debtors profile, where you look at things like uh, managing the addresses, managing the locations, the corporate debtors, key management personnel, their directors, etc. And so the entire, and their balance sheets and financial statements. What does their asset look like, and so on. So the entire corporate debtors profile will be managed there. And the third one is the CIRP process, which contains general information about um, all the things related to um, this particular assignment. Things like who are the other participants? Are there classes of creditors involved? If there are classes of creditors involved, who are the authorized representatives representing those respective classes, and so on. So I won't go too much into detail because each one of these modules has a separate dedicated session lined up later on, but I just wanted to touch upon the high level capabilities. So after case summary, we go into case run. So what is case run? Case run is actually the sequence of steps to follow that are after consultation, that we have come to after consultation with a whole host of um, uh, practitioners and thought leaders um, in the IBC space. So there are about 100 different tasks split into 10 different phases. Okay, so each of these phases contain several tasks, and each task has various actions, attributes, documents to manage, and each task is um, time stamped, meaning that when you start a task and you conduct any action and you complete the task, all of those actions are time stamped, they are recorded, and an audit log is taken care of. So when your support team goes into complete phase one, suppose they're doing public announcement. Okay, so the time they start to collect the information to the time they send out the information to the various publication agencies, to the time when the actual announcement is done and a copy of announcement is uploaded, all these series of steps are recorded by the system, so that once you're running, suppose you are an insolvency professional entity or even an individual IP, and you're running, say, 2, 3, 4 different assignments, you can actually see what your performance is like in terms of time taken to complete each task across all these assignments. And then you can look for areas of efficiency as to where you should train your team more to perform better. And all of these tasks have resources like templates, so that you don't have to invent anything. The best practice templates and resources and guided tours. So what are guided tours? And again, I would just give a very high level overview, just not to exhaust too much time on this. A guided tour is a step-by-step screenshot that you would find on the platform as to how to do a certain task. So suppose you have to upload like a simple thing like a CIRP 7 form. okay, on IBBI website. Suppose your support team is new and that support team member does not know how to do that. They can use the guided tour, and the guided tour will show them, okay, log in to IBBI, go to IBBI website, log in to the IP portal, go there, and so on, and upload this document at this place. So a guided tour is a step-by-step guide with screenshots that tells them how to do different things if in the event they're unaware of how to perform certain tasks. And of course, I spoke of audit and compliance. All actions on the platform are time-stamped and recorded so that you have the peace of mind that um, that there's no tampering with any documents without the IP being aware of it. Then we go to the documents tab. Documents is where all the documents related to your assignment are hosted. Documents are different from VDR. We'll come to VDR in a bit. Documents are meant for the IP and the team to manage during the course of assignment. It could include a whole host of information like financial documents, uh, regulatory documents, documents even after the completion uh, of the assignment, which could include monitoring and adherence to the resolution plan and other types of documents. So all of those can be maintained here and and shared by the IP and their support teams. Okay. The next capability is participants, and I think this is one capability that separates a unified platform from using a whole host of different bits and pieces of technology for managing an assignment. So in the participants tab, an IP can decide who their team is going to be. So the IP sets up an assignment, the IP invites their team members. So let me zoom in to show you what participants tab look like. So the central piece of the participants is the IRP or RP and their support team. So the RP can say, okay, who do I want to include to participate and collaborate on this assignment? And they decide what level of access do they want to grant. But as you're aware, the RP and the support team are not the only participants in this entire CIRP process. There are other external participants who might not access the details, but they still are participants and their information needs to be stored. So participants like financial creditors, operational creditors, directors and partners of the CD, authorized representatives, and other professionals like your law firms, your valuers, accountants, etc. So all those are also participants, even though they do not directly access the documents in the platform. So this is just to give you a view of the fact that we can manage the various people involved, and later on, any notifications that need to be sent out and any collaboration that needs to be done within these group of participants. Okay. So moving on to claims, and um, I think we'll all agree that claims is perhaps managing claims is perhaps the most time-consuming and tedious activity, especially when it comes to real estate cases where uh, the number of applicants can run into thousands in many cases. So, and it becomes a very demanding activity for the IPs and the IP teams. So, claims module lets you collate, verify, and export all those claims. Managing everything in one place. So you can receive claims both online and offline. What that means is that you can receive you can in your public announcement you can say, hey, send me the claim online through Resolution Engine, and any user anywhere in the country, any claimant can just log in, create an account, select the corporate data profile and send the claim to you, and it'll automatically land into your assignment under claims tab. Okay, so you can receive claims online. That's one, but you might also be receiving some claims offline, for example, through post. So those manually received claims can be entered manually by the support team and managed centrally at one place. Okay, the system has an built-in logic to auto calculate the voting shares of various participants based on the amount of claim admitted, and the system will auto generate the final IBBI annexures containing the details of various classes of claimants. So all those activities that are currently done on an Excel sheet separately, they're all embedded in the system, and you can export the final Excel sheet that you need to upload on the IBBI website finally. So all that is taken care of automatically. Moving on, we have meetings. So today, IPs use various different platforms. Some use Zoom, others use Team. There are also third-party meeting recording services that uh, that IPs engage for conducting the COC meetings and even non-COC meetings. So what the platform does is it integrates the meeting capability right within the platform. So you don't have to open Zoom and Teams. Teams is embedded within Rezolution Engine. So you can select the participants, schedule your meeting date and time, give it a title, and send invitation and the invite link to all the participants, and they can join those meetings online, and you can manage those meetings right from within the platform. So you have a record of which meeting was held when, who was invited, what was the agenda, and what was the final uh, the minutes that were circulated. Okay. So moving on, e-votings. I'm sure you must already be using some or the other sort of e-voting platform in your assignments. The problem with using third-party e-votings is that they remain outside as separate entities. Okay, and they are costly because these third-party providers charge you for each instance of meeting. So Rezolution Engine brings the capability within the platform. So every instance of e-voting that you hold is managed and recorded right there on the platform. Okay, so it saves cost as it is a part of the subscription. So there's no limit on how many e-voting events do you want to do, even if an e-voting event is fructified or is called off. You don't have to worry about cost, and it kind of ties back into the whole notion of the IBBI's ambition of making the resolution process frictionless and less costly, by saving unnecessary expenditures where we can. And this also leads to better maintenance of data. This also leads to better maintenance of data because there's better storage of voting results for future use. So you don't have to go out and tap on the shoulders of the third party e-voting service provider to share you the results or find those results on your email, or be worried about did you share the email results, the final results with the right stakeholders. That is all taken care of. There's only one place you see all e-voting results, and that is within the votings tab. And like I said, today's session is just an overview of all these capabilities. Eventually, we'll have a deep dive session dedicated to each one of these capabilities, where we'll take you inside the system and we'll show you exactly how various participants play different roles. For example, in the case of e-votings, we'll show you how an IP or an IP's support team member sets the e-voting instance up very easily through a guided tour, and then uh, how the recipients, how the voters in that e-voting event receive those invitations. They log in securely using an OTP, and they cast their vote. And then flipping back onto the IP side will show you how do these results are collated, how do you see who voted what, and how the auto collation of results is prepared and exported for you. Moving on to virtual data room. So just like e-voting, there are third-party VDR providers in the market, which we're aware many IPs today engage with. And the same problem as with e-voting is that you are moving outside of your central repository of information to do something else. So you're adding one more system that adds cost to the overall cost of resolution, and you're creating one more space to manage data. Okay, so that's where we decided to include the VDR capability in the resolution engine itself. So there's complete secure management of data within the resolution engine. The access to all these documents and invitation to VDR is controlled by the insolvency professional. All actions pertaining to all the documents are logged into the system. I'll try to zoom in and show you what that looks like. So as you can see here, there are three tabs. One is the VDR documents. In this example, we have only one for demonstration purposes. Then there is an audit log tab, and when we have that session dedicated to VDR, we'll show you how that audit log looks like. But suffice to say that the audit log, so suppose you're an IP and you have invited 10 prospective resolution applicants to this instance of VDR. You will every time, well, first of all, they would be granted permissions only based on the email ID that has been approved by the IP to be accessed through. Second, they would authenticate the ownership of that email ID through a one-time password. And third, once they log into the system to access those documents, each of those, every time they access any of that document, it will be timestamped, meaning that person A, B, and C, um, access document 1, 2, and 3 on such and such date and such time. So you know what's going on in your VDR at all times. Okay. Moving on, IP Assistant. IP Assistant is a module that we launched sometime early this year. And as the AI technology is evolving, we're catching up with making uh, the AI agent smarter and smarter, training it on larger corpus of data, including the code, the regulations, and the circulars, and we try to keep uh, our knowledge base up to date so that the AI system is trained repeatedly on newer sets of data and incorporating new capabilities to make sure that when IPs have questions pertaining to a piece of code, a piece of legislation, any circulars or regulations, they have the most up-to-date information. And IP Assistant is an ever-evolving uh, feature set, which will get smarter as the usage keeps up and as the AI model trains on newer and newer sets of data, it learns more and more about the domain. And the way we see it is that AI is the future of, like in most of the domains of the IBC ecosystem, and we foresee a lot of actions, a lot of assisted decision making in all assignment types happening with the role of uh, artificial intelligence. And in fact, very soon, sometime in January next year, we are actually releasing the capability to auto generate most of the or a lot of the documents purely using AI. So you don't have, so for instance, public announcement. The idea is you simply upload a copy of the order and maybe your application. And once you've set up the profile, the the information contained in those documents will be read and understood by the artificial intelligence agent, and the system will automatically generate those public announcements, forms, reports, documents for you at the click of a button. So it'll be a one-click system as against investing a huge deal of time and energy in building those documents from scratch and revising them. So when we look at non-user IPs, so non-user IPs, uh, like I said at the start of the of this talk, uh, Resolution Engine caters to both IPs as well as non-IP users. Non-IP users can log in, create an account, file applications, Section 7, 9, and so on, and they can also file claims. So for any case anywhere in the country, they can simply log in, select the corporate debtor, file a claim online, and the claim will automatically reach the the insolvency professional if they happen to uh, be conducting their assignment on Resolution Engine. And even if they're not using Resolution Engine, they will get notified that a claim from such and such party has been received. Here are the documents. You can download it and start collating and verifying these claims. An important thing to also note and uh, to note here is that in many cases, insolvency professionals are acting in their capacity as consultants, not as IPs. So they're advising their clients on creating of applications, making claims, and in filing uh, or bidding for projects that are stressed assets and so on. So uh, they can also take advantage in a non-IP capacity uh, by availing the services and creating an account on the Resolution Engine. The last thing that you see on this slide is watch list, and this is the latest addition to our capability list, and we are very excited about it, and I'll talk about it in the next slide. So what is watch list? Uh, watch list is basically a capability that we only recently introduced, where you can create watch list and track entities. It could be both companies as well as individuals. And whenever an application is listed against that entity in any cause list, in any NCLT bench in the country, you'll get notified. So what this means is that if you want to, suppose you're an IPE, or suppose your client happens to be a bank, for example, and the bank has, say, 100 stressed assets they want to monitor. Okay, they can simply create a watch list, add those 100 stressed assets, the names of those companies in that watch list, and anytime in future, if an application is initiated against any of those 100 um, stressed companies in any bench of NCLT, you'll automatically receive a reminder. So you don't have to wait for the order, or from an external third party to notify you. Uh, and in many cases, especially in Section 9 applications, it's not until very late that financial creditors are notified. that a case has been, an application has been filed against either an individual or a company. And many a times it's generally too late in the game to take remedial action or anticipatory action before you can you can take steps to safeguard your investments in that company. Okay. So and we track cause lists for all NCLT benches every day. Okay. So all NCLTs, all benches, all cause lists. All right. I see that we are we have a few more minutes left. I just wanted to touch upon the security and privacy feature of the resolution engine because I think this is very important. Uh, Capabilities are important, but equally important is how much trust can I repose on successful execution of those um, uh, of those features and capabilities, and is my data safe? What happens if in the event of a catastrophe? Okay, how are the backup arrangements taken care of? So resolution engine is built on a technology architecture that is SOC 2 certified. So SOC 2 is the highest level of cybersecurity certification that is awarded by third parties. Okay, so that underlying platform is SOC 2 certified. And as far as access and authentication is concerned, how do we make sure that the IPs on the platform are actually registered insolvency professionals? So for those of you who have already created an account or have already some experience logging into the resolution engine, you'd probably see that as when you try to log in as an insolvency professional, you see a drop-down list of your name along with the registered IBBI address. So if you try to register, the only way to do that is to confirm your ownership of that IBBI registered email address by way of a one-time password. So IPs are authenticated on the resolution engine before even creation of an account. Second is the role-based access control. So if you have an assignment and you have added 1, 2, 3 different team members, you can give them differentiated level of access to make sure that they are authorized to do only certain level of things on the platform. So for example, the platform has inbuilt limitation that, for example, uh, an assignment can only be created by an IP. So if you are an IBBI registered IP, can you create an assignment? Your team member cannot create an assignment. Once you have created an assignment, yes, they can participate and collaborate and do all the tasks and other activities. Okay, the next thing I wanted to talk about was data encryption. So all data in transit and at rest is encrypted. Okay, so RDS AES 256 is an encryption standard deployed. And as far as the activity happening on the platform is concerned, as I mentioned earlier, there's an audit log maintained. So we keep a track and timestamp of who accessed different parts of the system to do what and at what time. Okay. And finally, the last item on the slide is backup and recovery. So in the unforeseen event that the server crashes or um, there's some loss of data redundancy, is your data secure? The answer is yes. There are periodic backups and point-in-time recovery mechanisms that make sure that all the information you've put in, whether it is PDF or Excel like documents, or it is data entered by you like names, addresses, or other information that you've put into the system that lives in the database, that database is backed up on a periodic basis. So you can be rest assured that there's an adequate recovery mechanism in place to take care of your data. All right, so that that concludes the, the talk on an introduction. We are today on webinar 1. Of course, the intent of today's session was not to, to take everybody's time and walk them through inside the system, because that would take a long time. And for that reason, we have 8 different following webinars dedicated to each of the topic, where from that point onwards, we'll actually open the system, show you what you can do, what the user interface looks like, and what the capabilities are. The next webinar is on lead management, which is how you manage your leads. The analogy I used previously was your customer relationship management, managing your consents, your leads, your IP1 forms, mandates, etc., and also working through the entire NCLT court hearing process, and notifying your client, who's the applicant, of what happened in this meeting, in this court hearing, and when is the next court hearing scheduled. So they get notified, and they can also access uh, and get visibility on the same version of truth as you. Okay, so all these series are lined up. We would encourage you to please register and participate, and share feedback, so that because Resolution Engine is an ongoing evolution of technology, and we want the design and architecture of this platform to be shaped by feedback from industry experts, from you. We engage seriously and very heavily with both IBBI as well as um, leading players, uh, um, demoing the platform, like PricewaterhouseCoopers, and other big four players in this ecosystem, to get their feedback, understand, okay, what do you think about the technology as is, and where do you want to see the future evolution going forward? Because there are so many different ways in which you can build a piece of technology, but there's one or two priorities that the participants are most demanding, and which is of most value to them. So we want to invest the resources, time, energy, and effort to building those capabilities. Okay, so your suggestion is always welcome. And now we have a quick poll. Um, it's just a set of few questions, and this is an anonymous poll. So please feel free to provide your feedback. You'll see a polling window in your chat in the Teams window. So we'd request you to, and I'll stop sharing my screen here for a moment. So you'd see the first question, which is, how many of your assignments have you run on any digital platform so far? And I'll give you a few moments to do that. We'll give you 1 minute, and then we'll go on to the next question. I hope everyone is able to see the poll in their screens. Okay. Moving on to the next question. Question number 2. What do you think is the most important driver for you to adopt a digital platform for your assignments? So what is the most important thing for you when it comes to adopting technology? Is it because you want to stay compliant? Option 1. Is it because you want to automate the redundant tasks which take a lot of time and effort and which can be easily automated away? Option 3, do you want to reduce support costs? Or option 4, is it solely to enhance process efficiency? Of course, you would want to say all, but we are trying to capture the most dominant driver amongst these four options. So I'll give you 30 seconds. Okay. Question number 3. In your assignments, which of the following functions would you like the most to be handled by artificial intelligence? Rank them in the order of importance, with the most important on top. Is it so? The question basically is, which one do you want to be handled by AI? Claim verification process, meaning that you submit the claim to an AI and it does its thing and gives you a recommendation on the verification. Generation of documents like public announcements, forms, etc. Preparation of minutes of meeting, or answering questions about the code. So you can you can just drag and drop these four options with the most important one on top. I'll give you 30 seconds. Okay, finally, the last question. What is the biggest challenge to rapid adoption of digital platforms for insolvency professionals? What do you think is the biggest challenge today that is an impediment for insolvency professionals to, to adopt technology? Is it cost? Is it because technology or technology platforms generally, especially for IBC digitization, they're difficult to use? Is it because they bring very little value? Or is it because there are concerns about security and privacy? So once all of these are done, you can hit submit. Okay, so we have some very interesting results coming up, and we'll share them with the participants separately on an email. But for now, I see that we are almost on time. We just wanted to reserve some moments, like 5 minutes or so at the very end, to field any questions that you may have, any feedback, opinions. So we'll open the lines up. Please feel free to unmute yourselves, and we'll be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Hello.
Yes, Mr.
Hello.
Yes, sir. What will be the cost of the software?
Yeah, so the cost of the
Software
software,
will be. Yes, please.
yeah, so the cost of the software currently is priced at 9,999. Um, but right now, we have an introductory offer running. So it's actually priced at 4,999 per month. Okay. Um, so we are running this for at least the first quarter of 2025. And then from that point onwards, it'll revert back to its listed price of 9,999 per month.
No, but this 4999, I can add any number of assignment.
No, this is for one assignment.
So this includes everything, even storage,
Yes. So this
for
is
8 years.
yes. So this includes everything, an unlimited number of claims, e-voting instances, um, your VDR, and of course document storage. So everything related to an assignment is covered in this cost. So you don't have to buy any external third-party service beyond what you pay one time.
Sir, my question, Pandian from Chennai.
Yes, Mr. Pandit.
Yeah, okay, sir. I understand that no, the digitization is focusing on CIRP process. My first
Yeah,
question is that no, at present, okay, the IP, if I am having a 2, 3 assignment on different stages, which is one is maybe completing stages or one is in the halfway. What is the,
yeah,
I mean, way out to, I mean, digitizing the existing one, which is in different
yeah,
stages, and that can be
yes,
continued so that I can become a fully compliant.
yes. That's a great
That's one
question.
part. Another
Okay.
another one. And now
Mhm.
I understand the CRP process is there, and assignments of IIP, the IP, other areas also this PG assignment and liquidation and those things. Is there any plan of I mean digitizing the other assignment that is liquidation and other things?
Yes, sure. So
Great.
I'll
Yes.
answer. Yeah, thanks for the
Yes.
question, Mr. Pandit. So I'll answer the first part of your question, uh, which is around how do I how do I stay compliant with an ongoing assignment? So my assignment is midway. How do I stay compliant? So you can onboard any assignment at any stage. The options available to you are you can include data which is historic. So from the time of the start of the insolvency process, the date of commencement, up until today, all the actions that you have had, you can bring them online. Or you also have the option to say, okay, I want to keep whatever has happened, I want to keep them offline. But from today onwards, I want uh, to digitize. I mean, if you this is only if you want to save time or you have limited staff availability. Of course, we would always recommend to bring all the historic documentation to the platform, and our support team will help you to do that online, so
Correct.
that 1, 2, 3 years later, you don't have to access two different places for your historical assignments. Even those assignments that are completed, we would encourage you to bring them online, so that in the event of any audit by IBBI anytime later, you are not scrambling to find different pieces of information. Everything is hosted at one place. And for the other part of the second part of your question, which is what's the plan for other um, process case types. So we have CRP assignments live today on Resolution Engine. The next priority is personal guarantee, PG to CIRP
Yes.
assignment types, because um, we foresee that that will become a very voluminous assignment type in coming future. So our priority is to digitize that, and then we will the third in line will be the liquidation. So we hope that in next few months, our PG to CIRP assignment will be fully live and active, and following that, we'll take up the liquidation process.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? All right. We've got a very silent crowd here today, but thanks everyone for joining. If you have any follow-up questions, we always remain available through email, uh, and please feel free to drop in your comments and feedback, and we'll try to revert back with the responses as soon as we can. Okay. So thank you so much. And like I said, we encourage you to join the future webinars where um, you'll see the platform in action. You'll be taken through each and every capability, and you can see how it benefits you and your team in real time. All right, with that, I'd like to thank everyone for their time and participation, and see you in the next webinar. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes.